maybe. Okay, there it is. So we're live. We'll just go around and I guess introduce ourselves real quick. So you can
Okay.
start if you would
Oh,
like.
I will, yeah. I'm Bailey. My channel is Bailey Reading, as well as my Twitter, Instagram, whatever, everything. And yeah, I'm usually in this book club every month because I put it together.
Okay, cool. My name is Adriana, and my channel name is Carbon Bonded Books. My Twitter handle is Bonded Books because that's too many letters. So I've been in the book club since like the first book, but this is the first live stream I've actually been able to join. So I'm very excited.
We're so happy to have you.
Yes, I mean this is my first live show as well. Even though I've
Is
read
this the first one you've joined?
yeah, I've never actually
Read almost
physically
all of
been
them.
in a live show.
Nice.
But
Nice.
yes, if you're here, this is my
Yay.
channel. My name is Stasia. I'm reader C basically anywhere you can think of. But yeah, so today we'll be talking about the July Shelf This Book Club pick, When You Were Everything by Adrian Woodfolk. So I guess we can start off with the most simple question. What was your rating?
Do you want me to start?
I mean, I'll go.
Sure.
I gave it 5 stars. I liked it. I loved it.
Okay. I did see that.
But I was
And I
balancing between like a 4.5 to a 5. So I'm like in between there somewhere.
Okay. I did want to say, too, that I do trust you for the YA contemporaries because the only one I've loved this year you also recommended to me, which was With the Fire on High, directly recommended to me.
Chef's
And now
kiss.
this one, I really enjoyed this one, but I did give it 4 stars. So I'm at like
I
a
was gonna
good,
say
solid. I'm a
because
good,
the
solid
last
4
ones
star.
were not great choices.
This is the highest rating I've given a book club book. So
So I am very similar. I mean, but for this much of the book, I was ready to like rate it like 1 star. I hate
Really?
Reddit for this much of the book. I
Wow.
was and then I
Wow.
read this much left, and I'm at like a 4, 4.5. Like we're very close to a 5. Might get to a 5 at the end of this discussion.
Really interesting. Okay,
So that's
in
why I
the
was so
comments,
excited. Like, yeah.
So we have some comments. Nessa, my girl, she gave it 5 stars. 3.5 from Kayla. Here's Sarah.
so a lot of these don't surprise me. Like knowing these people,
Yeah, I'm not
Knowing
surprised
my
Nessa
friends-
gave it 5 stars, and I'm not surprised that Kayla gave it 3.5. Sarah, I'm not surprised gave it 2 either. I feel like it's the genre. Like YA contemporary is very much a hit or miss for people. I feel like that's what it was. Sorry, I'm not going to
Because
pick a
this-
fantasy book.
like in terms of my comfort zone, like YA contemporary, I've definitely moved away from, and so this is not in my comfort zone. So it was like for it to get 4 stars is pretty high for me considering the genre. So I definitely trust you.
I'm proud. I am proud. I was like, I'm going to break her streak. I have to break her streak. But
I'm
I
happy you
definitely
did.
understood why you were hate reading it because I was very much annoyed for a lot of it. But I think like for me is like this is a conversation that needs to be had. Like this
agree.
is never written about. And I feel like a lot of people don't like it because like it seems petty and it seems like dumb and childish, but they're sophomores in high school.
Yeah.
So I feel like
I
it was
didn't realize
very
you were that
valid.
young. Well, yeah, I guess I did, but
So I
I
feel
think
like
a big
the way
part
they
of it,
acted-
yeah. I don't know. I feel like a big part of it for me was like it hit like the cringe, like repressed memories of like myself in high
yeah.
school. And so I think,
Agreed.
and like obviously like I'm like 27 now. So like I've like there's been a lot of growing in like the
Right.
13 years since I was this age. And so it's just like so frustrating for me to like read this and be like, no, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, no, I definitely
Someone
get
will know
that
better.
because like Sarah said, like it was extremely juvenile, but like I don't know. I feel like everyone has different experiences with like being younger and being in high school and stuff. I like personally, I feel like this is very valid. Like the way that they interacted, how they were very impulsive and like didn't think things through, but like and then they would regret things and not say anything. I was like, I feel like that's accurate because they're sophomores. Like they don't, like obviously they're like teenagers, but I feel like they don't know how to express that yet. But yeah, it's definitely an important conversation. I need more. Cleo, ex-best friend, and company were very annoying. It was very juvenile but personal to me. Yeah, I think it just hit, man. Like I'm like,
Like
oh,
I think I acted like that.
yeah.
I'll just be like, I think I acted like that.
Like if I was having a fight with my friends, I'm sorry. We're petty. Like
right.
I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I was totally fine. Would have never done anything impulsive. I probably wouldn't have gone as far with like the email and everything.
Some of it was harsh, but I did like that. I don't think there's anyone here who didn't read it. Sarah asking about if we're talking spoilers.
Yes, I
mean,
feel
kind
like
of vague, but
are always spoilers.
Mostly.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
I'm totally fine with spoilers. I think everyone here has read it.
What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
I think you were saying something about how you acted that way in high school or once or twice. Oh, but the hyperbole.
I think
it was realistic that like the book didn't frame like Layla, that's the main character's name, correct? Mm-hmm. Her as like she was the good person. Like she also did
Cleo. Yeah, Cleo is the point of view.
Cleo. Okay, so Cleo. They also didn't like frame her as being like, I did nothing wrong.
Yeah, because
like, she did a lot wrong.
What she was doing wrong, and she had her regrets. It was just like her lack of speaking up, I guess. Like she never said sorry and stuff like that.
Right.
But
like neither of them did.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have anything that you wanted to point out that you maybe thought was like good or bad?
I don't know. I think it was like, I don't know, maybe some people felt it was like way too juvenile, but I think it definitely felt realistic as someone who in high school was probably on both ends of this kind of spectrum, both like kind of a social climber at one point and also like, I'm a loner, I'll never have friends, like at one point. So like, I can definitely see like both of these characters like a lot. And something, I don't know if it was like super out there, but I think also you get to see a little bit of how Cleo's mindset entering a situation really affects the people around her. Like when she goes into that first initial like hangout with all of the choir girls at Washington Square Park or whatever, and goes in with the negative mindset, that's when the girls are like petty and mean. But then she starts hanging out with, or she meets other people in more of like a neutral or even semi-positive mindset, and that's when like people are actually like into it. So I think that was definitely less subtle than like the communication errors, but I think having that like mindset was something that was also kind of good that I saw in there.
Because every time she went in, she was always like, I didn't want to go, and she would like keep saying like they don't like me, like I have nothing in common with them. So like her mindset, I mean, that's accurate. Like it depends on your mindset. If you go into something thinking you're gonna hate it, the chances of you hating it are higher. So
well, and teenage girls can feel that energy. Like if you go in with negative energy, like girls are very quick to like pick that stuff up.
Yeah. All right, we have a question. So did we like this better representation?
I meant to look this up because I'm pretty sure it's not own voices.
I don't think it is.
But I don't want to say that it's 100% not. And it was something I was also questioning throughout.
I feel like I can't really say whether it was good or bad because I don't know what accurate representation would be because I don't have a speech impediment. So I'm not sure. I am curious though on how I'm not sure if there is an audiobook, but if there is, I'm curious as to how that went down.
How they handled it.
Yeah.
Did everyone read it physically or did anyone listen to an audiobook? I know there is an audiobook because it's actually what was available through my library.
Oh, okay. My library.
So it does exist.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious on how they did it with the audiobook. But as for like reading it, I feel like it's harder to get like as immersive with Cleo and her stutter because like
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. Okay, so the audio is not good then. Maybe that's why you rated it 2 stars.
But Nessa also then said, because she gave it 5 stars and said the audiobook wasn't great.
Oh wait, Nessa, did you just do audio, Nessa, or did you also like have it physically or something like that? I'm not sure. I kind of was a person who, if I stopped being friends with someone, I kind of would keep moving. I think it was just because I fit in. Okay, yeah, no, this was not me. I had like a very dramatic friendship breakup in high school, and that like all I could think about was like, why are you not talking to me? Like, what do I have to say to make you talk to me again? So like I was the Cleo. Like I was the one who got left behind. So
I would say the same.
That's why it hit a little harder for me because I'm like, you know, I've been left behind. That's sad.
Yeah. I also just wanted to bring up about myself that like, and Stasia, I know you got with your husband pretty young, but I'm not sure how young. Like I married my high school sweetheart. So I have not been through that many like relationship breakups. So
Same.
like the friendship breakups hit hard.
Yeah. My husband now was my first boyfriend. So there's that.
Right. Like I've had more friendship breakups than like
and it like
relationship breakups.
It just hits me so hard because obviously my husband's in the military and I will say this for all the world to hear, military spouses are stuck in high school. So like at our first duty station, I had like a dramatic thing and I'm just like, I can't make friends anymore. Like I'm tired of this. So I feel like this is just, I don't know. It's just, I guess it depends. Like if you don't really, like if you never had a dramatic friendship breakup, I feel like it won't hit as hard.
Like I want more stories with the friendship breakup thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked seeing the friendship dynamic. I mean, especially in like a YA contemporary, I feel like so much of it revolves around like, you know, boyfriend girlfriend relationship or coming of age, like within a romance. Yeah. And or I guess just like a general romance. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool to see kind of a different aspect of like, because your friendships are so important at that stage in your life because you're still trying to figure out what life is.
And I feel like
in high school, friendships are
like they became friends at such an important part of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And like she was saying, like she was like, oh, like that's my only friend, which like I felt like that before. So like when you lose a one person who like you talk to every day, you're constantly together, you're kind of lost. You're like, what? Well, what do I do now? Like she didn't know where to sit in the cafeteria. Like, I mean, I feel like it's rough. I'm missing comments, so let's just
catch up real quick.
To the stutter conversation for 1 second with that. Yeah. I do feel like because I was questioning throughout, I really did realize that the stutter was put there and then also used against the character that had it. So, like, I obviously don't think that that is probably great representation.
I feel like
it was.
I feel like that's almost accurate though, because like she wanted to hurt her, so she went to the one thing she knew would hurt her
the most.
Yeah, because like theoretically in high school, like if someone's insecure about something and you're like that mad, that's what you're going to go after. Just because like in that age range, you're not thinking like, oh, I shouldn't say that. But I mean, she said right away, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Right. But, to me, I think it's
also, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it was also almost like a plot device as far as like why she had this information for the email, because she was able to directly copy it from the big long text that Layla sent and put it into the email. So that's, but the only other, like the only other stutter representation I've seen was in a dark comedy. And obviously that was very, very poor representation. So for me, this was like, oh, okay, compared to the only other thing I've seen it in, at least it was somewhat treated with some amount of
a little lighter than that.
Right. Yeah. I think, I don't know. I don't know if it's own voices, so, and I've never experienced it, so I can't really vouch on whether or not it's like positive representation or anything. But I feel like the narrator probably had something to do with your interpretation of the book.
Yeah.
But
I mean, but I noticed it reading it physically as well. So
yeah, I don't know. But I feel like with the narrator, like they put it in your head on how they're portraying the stutter.
yeah, I would be curious too, like when you're listening from Cleo's perspective, like how she thinks about
said
it.
Right, yeah. Because we never get from Layla directly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm guessing this was like a one narrator audiobook, but I don't know.
I think so. But okay. So Nessa did it both ways and she still gave it 5 stars. But it's fine. I just hated how she treated the whole situation with her dad and her teacher.
This is interesting to touch on.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me just catch up on comments and
and then we can talk about this.
Circle back.
I'm not stuck in high school, Kayla. It's not all of us, but you know who I'm talking about. Friendship breakup hit so hard, so much harder. I think that's why. I mean, yeah, romantic relationships, like break up with me, I don't care. But if you're my best friend, how dare you? So,
I mean, I'm the friend though. You start ignoring me, I'm like, come back.
yeah, like I
won't bug you. We are
like,
still
if you
friends.
start
Right?
ignoring me, I go like internal. I'm like, what did I do? Why are you treating
See,
me?
I'm not that way. I'm the one who's like, hey, checking in, miss you.
Yeah, no, I'm like, maybe they don't want to talk to me. Maybe I did something unintentional. What did I do? So I get in my head when people start ignoring me.
Yeah.
But I really liked how there was a romantic relationship, but the romantic relationship was a subplot. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Save the Diner subplot, I hated that in another book I recently read, and it felt very thrown in this one. Yeah, I mean, okay. So let's go back to this one.
These are all things I want to talk about, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The dad and the teacher. What are some thoughts on that?
Did you see it coming?
I figured her dad cheated in some way. I just didn't see it coming with the teacher. I figured her dad was the reason for the divorce. Because
once it came up, I was like, oh, he did like move out and quit his job.
Yeah. Like in my head, like when the whole text thing happened, I was like, it's not a student. There's no way. How the dad is portrayed, there's no way it's a student. So like I was like, so what happened? Because like even if you get divorced, like the mom's not there. So why do you have to quit your job?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was
waiting for Sloan. I was waiting for Sloan to be like, it was me.
You know what, Sloan?
I'm the student.
I can't.
I was waiting for some drama.
The dad and the teacher thing was kind of weird, but I could get how it could make someone feel. I wanted the drama. I think if there was more drama, it would have rated it higher. Okay, that's fair. I completely didn't even think twice about Cleo's parents until the teacher plot got dropped. I was like, honestly, I was not expecting the teacher drop at all. Because when they announced, like, she was talking about like, oh, they're separating. Like I immediately thought it was because the mom's a workaholic. Like I did not think there was going to be any sort of like other romantic relationship, because the entire time she's saying like, oh, mom never talks to me. Oh, I'm surprised she's home. So like I was like, mom threw herself into work and now there's no time for dad. I didn't know, like I wasn't expecting another woman basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my parents are divorced, and my dad, like, kind of is now married to someone that we knew, like, previously. I related to this book so hard. Like, I've been in the position of, like, wait, you're dating who? Know what I mean? Like,
right. Like, but I know that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on when they dropped the whole Miss Novak thing?
I mean, it made 100% sense, like, once she said it. But yeah, I really wasn't expecting, like, Miss Novak, like, specifically. So, I mean, when the text situation first started, I was like, oh, no way, no way, no way, no way it was a student. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
No, I do not think that's where this is going. And then, yeah, I kind of went through the same process of like, why would he have to leave so suddenly? If he had just cheated with like a random like family friend
Like,
or
at the
whatever.
same time, it's not wrong. Well, it is wrong that he's married. Like, in the sense
Yeah.
that he's married, that's wrong. But like a librarian and a teacher, like, that's not wrong. So I don't understand.
I mean,
why.
most companies would have like, you shouldn't date, right? But
In my high school, there was literally like two pairs, so like 4 teachers who were married within the building.
I think like it was more so just like before it got to something like physical, before like the divorce was like finalized.
Yeah,
Right.
because
It's like, if you have to like,
right? They just separated.
no, they were just seperated. But I imagine at some point it's like, I don't think
it
it's salvageable.
it did sound like they were getting back together.
Yeah. So I imagine it was more just so like, hey, to save like face for our daughter, it would probably be best as we're getting, you know, separated, divorced, whatever, that you're not flirting it up with one of her like favorite teachers. Like,
that's true. That's true. All right. So from someone who literally celebrated when their parents got divorced when I was in high school, I hated her literally playing the victim for all of her dads. I only had one parent, so I can't really like say anything about like a divorce, but I feel like honestly that is just Cleo's character.
Yeah.
I feel like she is very much like, she needs to think on what's happening.
She does play the victim.
Yeah, and how it affected her. Like, she does personalize everything, but that's how she was from the start. So I feel like when she did it with her dad, I was just like, well, here she goes again.
Yeah. Like, everything Sarah's saying is like why I didn't
100%,
give it 5 instead of 4.
Right.
But I wasn't as irritated as she seemed to have been.
It's definitely valid. Dad teacher felt left field and had me thinking why their direction Ashley took it, but I didn't really care about the parents. Yeah, I didn't really care about the parents either. Like, her entire relationship with like her mom and her dad, I was just like, all right, but give me the drama. Where's Layla? I like that her dad was a librarian though. I agree. That was cool. I also like that it was her dad and it wasn't like switch reverses where the dad was at a company and the mom was a librarian, because usually they write librarians as female, so I did like that they wrote the dad as a librarian.
True. But I didn't actually think of that as I was reading it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see why the dad and the teacher, or like that whole situation, is like out of line, but I feel like since it was such a big plot as to why she was like, oh, she doesn't want to listen to me, my parents are separating. Like, I see why they had to expand on it somehow.
I think that the separation too was also used as like the reason that Cleo was really like, Layla's really not going to be here for me right now. Like, she's who I would tell all this to, and she's not going to be here for me right now.
Right. And she's like, I have no, like, how dare she?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I think it was also kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back sort of situation.
Right,
like, you know,
you're leaving me alone.
So much
like,
was going wrong
time.
all at the same time.
I mean, okay, hold on. We'll get
before Nessa's comment.
Save the diner.
Yeah. That.
How did we feel about that?
I love Hallmark movies, so like I was all about Save the Diner. Let's go.
I love the whole like, we need to save something that is a staple in our community. I think I'm biased here because I actually really love that.
Yeah. Well, and I just read like One Last Stop, and that's a big thing in that one too.
Oh, is it?
I actually was gonna bring up. It reminds me of The Hate You Give, in the convenience store. Like, that's been used, and I feel like I've liked it.
I mean, I like it. So like, she doesn't like it. Like, she already read a book that she didn't like it, so I can see why she reads another one and she's like, absolutely not. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's another like opinion thing on like tropes and things.
Stuff that does and does not work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not an enemies to lovers gal. You're not a save the business gal. It's okay.
It's fine. Like, I'm
Don't
not
worry.
holding against you. Kind of. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
All
I
right.
wanted to talk, before we talk too much about Dom, I wanted to talk about the pacing between the then and now. Because I honestly thought that the pacing of the book in that format was really good because it wasn't just like every other chapter.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like it did like as much as you needed in the past and then as much as you needed there and then just switched. And I actually was like, I was vibing with the pace.
I think they complemented each other really well with when she felt the need to stop the then and stop the now.
Right.
So I really liked how they both like went over each other.
I
And
might
Susan,
just
I
be
know
a
you and me, we like those short chapters.
yeah.
I was like,
Like I might just be like a dumbass, but like towards like the end when they start getting like closer and closer together, I was having such a hard time keeping like the timeline straight, and I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like
no,
Right,
that's
you're
not
really-
you
now
because
to
I
time-
would stop.
time is
Yeah.
in flat circle.
Yeah, I would stop and I'd be like, wait, are we in then or now? Like I would literally flip back to see where we were. So
Yeah.
But you started being able to tell based on the characters that were present.
yeah,
too.
so, like,
Around,
Because
yeah.
they got more
Sydney and
separate
Rilla.
from these people
Right.
to these
Mhm.
people. So
Yeah. But like when she would just be like narrating something sad, I'm like, okay, wait, where are we? Are we first sad or are we like we've been sad? Like where? But yeah, I actually
we were sad,
like
we are
the-
sad, we will be sad.
Perpetually sad.
but now she's not gonna be sad anymore. Growth.
Sure.
We'll see. We'll see. But yes,
Okay, well, we can talk about Dom.
honestly, I love Dom, but the time I feel like it was most confusing. I feel like it wasn't as confusing at the end, but like reaching the end of the middle, if that makes sense. Because like at the end, I knew what was happening because Sydney was already like a prominent character.
Mhm.
So I knew that we were like in the now. But when she was, I don't know, like in like the ending of the middle chunk going into like more present day, I was getting confused. I was like,
Mhm.
I think that's where I kind of like took a small break. So I like was reading it and then I really slowed down because I was like, oh, I don't want to finish this like too far away from the chat. So then I like slowed down and then finished the last like third fairly quickly again. So I don't think it bugged me as much because I was purposely like doing it slow.
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So the other book she read was One Last Stop.
Oh. And I loved it.
Wow.
I haven't read it yet.
We need to see because I also do have it. Okay, so let's talk about Sloane. Don't like her. She can. Goodbye.
No, I didn't like it. Right.
Sloane needed to leave.
And
Like,
like
we're getting it from Cleo, but
yeah, so I mean
Sloane
obviously
was not
it's gonna
redeemable
be-
at all.
yeah. And it's one thing like I understand that she has her like tragic like backstory like trademark, but at the same time like you can only choose your attitude and like how you will react to a situation
But,
and like to react
At the
like
same
such a
time, like you knew you got bullied and you went through all of that, and she literally went to a new school and did it to someone else.
I think that's probably more of like a protection thing though. Like I'm gonna be the bully instead of being like bullied like I
could
was the
not
last
with
time.
her.
Like it's realistic. Like
It
I
is,
think
yeah,
that
because
happens a
you're like,
lot,
well,
but I still hate it.
I don't want to get hurt, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna put myself on like the highest pedestal. So it is real, but
But I hate
Yeah.
it.
I did not. Sloane was not my gal. I feel like she was just so aggressive, but also like
Mhm.
we said, we're reading it from Cleo's perspective. So like we really, I feel like if we got it from like Layla's perspective, it would have come off differently. But the way that Cleo felt every time Sloane talked to her, I was like, oh, she's mean. She just doesn't stop.
Like they were
Especially at
like
the
she
party?
was instantly mean.
She was
Like for
yes.
like had no reason to dislike Cleo, and they were instantly like to Layla, like, yes, you're gonna be one of us now, but not her.
right.
Like
And it was
just instantly mean for no reason.
the second because it was at that party, like the Halloween. Was it the
I
Halloween?
think the 4th of July party.
Yeah, it was the 4th of July because it was before school.
Yeah.
And that's when Layla met Sloan, and Sloan was like, "I love your voice," and then she's like, "Oh, here's my best friend Cleo," and she's just like,
nah.
Although I
so let's
feel
go
like
talk
that
to
was,
the chorus girls.
yeah, I feel like that was also maybe a little bit of the mindset thing. Like as far
Yeah.
as like the vibe Cleo was giving off, like I said, like Layla probably approaches every situation with like this bubbly, fun energy, and so you're like, oh my gosh, I want to hang out with this girl, and then all of a sudden this like dark cloud of Cleo comes in, and you're like, what is happening? Like,
to be fair, she didn't want to go to the party.
Yeah.
So she was probably already standoffish, but I mean, no.
Yeah, I mean, like it really wasn't
Sloan
like
was just rude.
the reaction wasn't equal to, I'm sure, the energy Cleo was giving off, but like that probably didn't help the whole situation.
Right. Sloan played the role of mean girl extremely well. She was true to what she was supposed to be. That is true.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to switch up at some point. You know, I thought she was going to warm up to Cleo. I did not know how the book ended, so I didn't know if they were going to become friends again. But at least she stuck to her guns, you know. If you're going to be a bee, then be a
consistent.
Right. We love that. But her character arc, I really didn't like because she never changed. Yeah, but I feel like it was like what? One semester that it covered? So like
I don't know, but I think that's kind of like,
oh yeah, I guess it was something like, yeah.
I think
it
like,
was only a
that's kind
semester
of the
because
thing
it was
with
from like
most of
July
these.
to December.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a time frame.
Yeah, so I feel like
it wasn't a year
to recover, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that was the thing with almost all the characters, though, is like I didn't feel like any
None
of them
really grew.
changed much. Yeah.
I mean, except for like the epilogue, and that's when you see like the big thing with Cleo and Layla. I guess they both like let it go.
Yeah.
But, so we don't like Sloan. That's nice to hear. Now we'll talk about Dom. I love Dom. I feel like
I didn't know there was going to be a romance. And
Me
so
neither.
I was pleasantly surprised because I was also liking it. Like I thought it was just going to be the friendship thing. And so I
feel
was
like
pleasantly
with
surprised.
Dom,
I liked him.
he was very like, that's how high school boys act.
Yeah.
The way he like spoke to her.
And his, is it Pop and Lolly, Pop and Dolly? Like I love
Lolly
that.
and Pop.
Yeah, yeah.
But I liked him. So Dom was cool. Yeah, he was a high schooler. Like the way he approached anything was very high school guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else read middle school.
Sarah must have gone to a very different high school than me.
Yeah, because
that's
those
what I
girls,
keep feeling too.
I see them every day. Dom was okay, but I don't think he was needed for the story. He definitely wasn't. I feel like he was added in the story to help Cleo, I guess, like have a more positive mindset because she's like, oh, now I'm looking forward to seeing someone again.
I think it was also kind of showing the transition of her having like healthier relationships instead of having one like super codependent toxic relationship. She now has 3 totally different types of relationships.
So how do we feel
she has
about when Dom shut her out then?
Oh.
Because he said nothing about it. I was just like, I mean, he explained it. He was like, oh, my dad like just offered and I didn't want like your pity either. But at the same time, like him knowing what she was going through, like I didn't like that.
Again, like pretty realistic though.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I mean it's high school; they're all impulsive, so you really can't blame them for any of their decisions.
Their brains aren't even formed yet. Like their brains aren't done.
Right. I can't remember what, but I watched or read something where a character was so similar to Sloan, and I hate that immediately don't like her vibe. I feel like that's in any high school. If any high school setting, there's going to be a girl like that.
Yeah. Regina George.
Yeah, she's a hot mess, but it's fine. We love it. Okay, so we have a question. Did we like or dislike that they never rekindled? I liked it.
I also liked it.
I think that was honestly my favorite part of the book is that it didn't, like, they didn't have to make up.
Because the thing was, like, at the end of the day, it was almost like a parasitic relationship because Cleo was just hugging on to her and Layla was just like, but I want to do like a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm like, they were very off balance, even in the beginning, before they even met Sloane. Like, Cleo did not want to go to this party, and Layla did not care.
Yeah.
Right. They were
Loved
choosing
that
different
they did.
paths.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, oh, sorry, no, you can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think it's good for like people in this age group to be able to read a story like this, because you do outgrow so many like friendships, like going from high school to college or just high school to post high school and whatever you're doing. Like, I mean, I have so many people that I was like super great friends with in high school that like as soon as I went to college, we just drifted apart and never talked again. And like I still appreciate that those friendships were there at the time, but it's just like not something that's ever, I'm never going to be friends with them again. Like,
Right.
I think it's good to be able to see that in a story.
Yeah. It was
And
definitely
to have
very
that
good
perspective when you
representation
read.
of that.
Yeah. Like to keep that perspective when you're reading YA of like, you know, maybe at this point in my life, this isn't meant for me, but like also if I read it at that age, like what are the messages here?
And I feel like, especially in high school, you know, like a lot of people make their group really fast. So I feel like when there's like a conflict in a group and you're in high school and you're reading this book, you can tell yourself like, we don't, like, just because we were best friends at some point does not mean that we always need to be best friends.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, there were like the dramatics, but like at the end of the day, both Layla and Cleo were okay with not being friends anymore.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't any more animosity. Like they were both fine. And I liked that they never rekindled, because honestly, Layla's not my favorite, but it's fine. Nessa likes it. But yeah, let's talk about Sydney and Willa.
There's so many people.
But I think that's everyone now, besides like the small characters.
Yeah. I'm realizing as we talk through all of this though that just how many like random subplots there really was.
Yeah, there's really
like
just
it's
like
a bunch of random stuff stringed together.
Well, I'm glad you liked that part, Sarah. We're happy for that.
You found one thing.
Right.
I mean, that was probably my transition from like 3 to 4 stars though too.
Yes.
Cantu's gonna be inside the room using my computer.
Okay.
No, I think the major thing for me and what made me like stop hate reading this book and transition into actively liking it was what I actually have it like tabbed in here, but when they start talking about the secret garden, and Dom straight up says she doesn't have any friends until she stops being shitty, and then she finds this badass garden full of magic.
Right.
And so I was like, that's what really like solidified, okay, like Cleo's learning her lesson. And that was the biggest thing for me, is like I got to this point in the book and Cleo still hadn't learned her lesson. And then like right here is when she starts like formulating that in her brain.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also because of how the pacing was, because it only took place in like 6-ish months.
Yeah.
Like you stick with her being crappy for a long time. But I mean, I love Sydney, honestly.
Yeah, I liked both of them a lot.
Yeah. I feel like Sydney was very, like, she wasn't pushy, but she was like, look, I understand what you've been through, but like, we're not all the same. So like, we're
very
not friends until we're not friends anymore. And that's just how it's going to be.
And I like that Sydney and Willa like had their falling out and made up, and that was the friendship breakup of the book, not
right. Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to end for everyone, even though it ends for Cleo. No, like you can make up, but our two main characters weren't going to.
Exactly, because now Sydney and Willa are happily in a relationship, even though Sydney was terrified to say anything.
Right.
And I also loved that when she told them the full story, like she basically told them she was a crappy person, because we're not gonna lie, Cleo said some really messed up stuff.
Yeah.
Once they were still like, okay, like it is what it is. It happened. Like we know you now. Like it's fine. So I loved Sydney and Willa as characters.
Yeah,
And
I think they
feel
were
like
definitely a
they
much
helped Cleo.
yeah. They were a much better example of like a regular healthy friendship.
Yeah. Especially when Cleo tried to block her out. She's like, no, like
Mhm.
this is not how friendships go.
Yeah. It's not an all or nothing thing. Like there's a
Right.
happy medium in between.
Yeah, and
I
I
mean,
think
but that's
that's something that
Cleo and
Cleo
Layla
was
were.
struggling with.
Yeah.
Was because
Yeah.
she was solely only had one friend. And
And
then
they
so
were-
once she seen Willa, she was like, oh, now she can't be my friend. But like, that's not how it
We
is. Like,
can
you can have
we can have
friends.
lots of friends, right? Lots of
Right.
friends.
They don't even need to be in the same friend group, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
but yes. Okay. I think they were very good in not putting up with Cleo. Yeah, they were. They were like, get it together, like now. But they weren't like harsh about it either. Like they were very like tough love.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Cleo needed more than anything was like that tough love. But
Right, they didn't baby her and her like pouty like.
right,
Somebody
and they
like
weren't
now.
even like, oh, everything you did was valid. They were like, nah, that
was
was
messed up.
not a good thing to do. Like, so yeah, I think they were very healthy characters, and I hope people act like them in their high school years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the people Sarah was hanging out with in high school.
Right. So she's just like, cannot relate.
Right.
Sarah's just vibing, but we're here for it. But all right, random point. The epilogue was, I will agree, the epilogue was very long.
I
But
was
like, I
surprised
feel like
by
it
that for
was
sure.
long within like semi-reasonable because like she had to get like the monologue out and everything. I feel like the epilogue was the longest chapter. But I don't know, it read fast because it was just their one open mic night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I feel like the epilogue was like their way of telling you like these friends don't get back together and the diner gets saved. So it's kind of bittersweet depending on what you wanted. But yeah, the epilogue was really long. Not sure why, but I mean, I still enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked it. But yeah, I mean, I think we covered maybe everything.
I was just reading what I tabbed, but yeah, it was mostly quotes and not like major.
Oh, there was this one quote I posted on my story. It was like that's the thing about words. They can leave you both unscathed and completely dead.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like,
that was a good
crying.
one.
We are crying right now. She's just spitting.
I tabbed the one that says, or perhaps it's different for boys, but girls cling to their friends for dear life as they wade through the rough waters of learning who they are while everything around and inside them is changing minute by minute. And aren't we all a little bit in love with our best friends?
Yes,
And
I
then
love that.
I tabbed the conversation with her parents where her parents were talking about like having love for each other, and it was like sometimes people outgrow each other, like love isn't always enough, and Cleo's kind of like, if you love someone, isn't it supposed to be forever? And they're kind of just like, no.
No,
but that's like a reflection of her friendship relationship, of the whole concept of the book is like you can love someone and outgrow each other.
Right, yeah. And I feel like that's the main thing that Cleo needed to learn was like she thinks everything was supposed to be like permanent. But
or someone's fault.
Yeah,
right.
There's always something to blame, but like sometimes there's not. Sometimes it just is what it is and you just take it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is actually a pretty important book to have out, and I think more books need to discuss friendship breakups.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have one last kind of like stupid thing to talk about. But there's twice in this book where romantically they pull each other by the belt loop. Is that a thing that people do?
I know
never
where they pull like to kiss.
Yeah, and like I've
like,
never seen that. Like because she's like Sydney pulls her by the belt loop, and earlier she had pulled Dom by the. I've never seen that happen. I can't even envision like how this romantically works out because it seems really awkward to me.
I can picture it, but
I can't picture myself doing it, but I can see how it would play out. But I think that's also like the whole like Like the whole thing in To All the Boys I Loved Before with the hand in the back pocket. Like personally,
Yeah.
Right,
like that's very
don't do
uncomfortable.
that. But I've seen people do that in public too, though. Where
Yeah,
it's like
so I'm like,
you're thinking like that's kind of cringy, but then it's like, oh, but some people do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might just be because my husband's like 1 inch taller than me that it's very uncomfortable for us to do that. But I'm just like, I don't know. But yeah, I read that too. And like, I never thought anything of it because I'm just
I
like,
didn't notice it.
Well, the
something they
fact
do.
I didn't think
it was the
anything
fact
of
that
it.
it was like she said it twice with like two different
like, it's-
couples.
They're
Yeah.
saying, right.
Because like I think Dom and Cleo do it once, and then Sydney and like Willa do it at the
Yeah.
end. And so I was just like, is this a thing that people are
Interesting.
doing?
It might be a thing.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah, I did catch that too. I was like, all right, we just love to pull each other.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, any last thoughts, comments, feelings?
I think we covered everything that I had wanted to talk about.
Yes, we talked about subplots. We talked about all the characters.
Right.
We talked about the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're good.
I think it's good. I think this is a good pick. I feel like
Yeah,
I'm
this is an
supposed to
awesome pick.
sit and pick books apart, but it sounds like most of us actually enjoyed this one.
I feel like this conversation was good because we're like, we can
Yeah.
see how you hated this, but I think
Mhm.
this also
But
goes to
it's
show
fine.
that this is a very personal book. Like, if
Yeah.
you can't relate to the situation and you've never
you
had to
don't.
deal with
Right.
that, you're just going to be like, okay, like you're just being petty and childish.
Right.
So this is a very mindset. You have to go into this, remembering they're sophomores in high school.
Yeah. I do think too there's this spectrum of YA that everyone thinks like, oh, YA now is like A Court of Thorns and Roses, where that's like
everyone's thinking
that's
it's like
new adult.
ending of high school, going into college. I'm like, no, that's like
this
new
isn't
adult.
middle grade.
Mhm.
This isn't middle grade. It's a little older than that. So yeah, it is YA. But I,
I feel
get
like
that
this
it
is
is.
what YA is, but
Yeah.
people just mismark
I feel like it's
YA.
what YA was, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now I feel like YA and new adult kind of merge.
Yeah.
Like I don't
yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
this was more immature than like Sarah Destin. Like I think this is like that.
Yeah, they're definitely
Like
on the
that's-
same wavelength.
Right.
Yeah.
A little cheesy. Give me a little
It
cheesy.
is. It is. It's a little cringe, but you're just like, hey, I was a little cringe.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Well, thank you for joining us. Bailey,
Yes.
you can go ahead, make the announcement for anyone
Yes,
here.
quickly
for
talk
next month.
about next month. So next month, Nessa from Books with Nessa, she's in the chat. She read the book this month, is picking the book, and it is, I had to pull it up because I never remember the author. Sorry. It's The Lost Causes by Alyssa Embry Schwartz and Jessica Coused-Edding. Looks like this. That's the cover. And
Okay.
it's a YA mystery. So I'm excited
Okay.
to try that.
Hopefully we
Mysteries up
can
my
get
alley,
girls
but YA
right.
mysteries aren't. And we haven't picked a date yet, but we are going to do it on my channel. Nessa's on a little bit of a hiatus. So it'll be on my channel.
Okay.
August.
For anyone who is here and is not a part of the book club, the Discord server as well as Bailey's channel is
Thank
linked
you.
down below. So you can join us in Discord for any updates. There's also the Twitter link down below. So all the
Awesome.
information
Thank
will
you.
be in the description. But yeah, so thank you for chatting with us. We had great conversation. We'll see you next time.
Bye, friends.